are back. It's another.
It's the Cooligans, buddy.
Look at this. Yeah. I'm just abusing the soundboard. Welcome to the Cooligans. My name is Cristian Polanco. I'm here with my guest co-host today because Alexis is MIA. He is missing in action.
Yes.
But he is in action. I don't know if we can announce where he is yet.
I would leave that to Alexis.
I haven't seen.
I have no idea where he's at.
seen anything posted, so I'm not gonna ruin the surprise.
Let's just say he's not local right now.
that is, I mean, all I know is that I've been getting calls from several officers. All right, different detectives are asking questions. They say they have a warrant, and I said, "Hey, I got nothing to say about my man."
Alexis, hide, bro. Hide. Just run away. Run away.
Interpol keeps coming up to Christian's door. What's going on, man?
Interpol? How'd you get my number? Oh, all right, you're Interpol. I forgot about that. You probably have everybody's number. Excited. I'm joined by my guest co-host, Stefano Fusaro. Stefano, what's up, man?
What's up, man? Good to see you. Thank you for having me back.
Thank you for being back. You came through with the Liverpool cap on.
Damn right.
And the No Me Jodas sweater, okay?
There's a lot that goes to, you can kind of really put these together, my Liverpool hat and my shirt for what happened in that Man City match. But, you know, we're happy. We're still near the top of the table. We're good.
I see the shirt, and I'm just like, damn, bro. Remind memories of my mom yelling at me, dog.
Trust me. My dad still says it to me to this day. He's like, no matter, come on.
So, no, we have a lot to go over today. Obviously, the Premier League and that title race is definitely getting more exciting and interesting. Well, we'll talk about the Liverpool Man City game, how Arsenal fared in their match, and then obviously Gold Cup, the Women's Gold Cup final. Nope. And we got a lot of Major League Soccer to discuss. But before
sure you want to talk about Major League Soccer? You sure you want to talk about what happened at Yankee Stadium?
Bro, I don't know.
Sorry, bro.
Bro, the Yankees play there. What do you mean? I'm just waiting for the stadium in Queens, okay? That's all.
That's what your focus is on right now.
That's why it's just a couple, 3.5 years, and we're good.
So you're walking through the cube. 3.5 years.
Bro, the cube, everybody.
That's what we're focusing on. Not the matches. Not the matches now, you know.
Okay, the present is overrated, Stefano.
Only talk about the future. I get you.
Okay, you gotta have the vision. Anyway, yes, we'll talk about Major League Soccer in a bit. Before I get to that, I just wanna point out the news about La República Dominicana, okay? So I know everybody's just like, yo, Christian, why don't you talk about the Dominican Republic soccer team enough?
This is what everyone's been waiting for.
Oh, yeah. You can stop DMing. You can stop with all the messages.
Wanted it.
The poor reviews. You know, everybody's like, yo, I love this show. They talk about Major League Soccer. They talk about NWSL, Premier League. But honestly, they're not talking about the La Liga Dominicana de Futbol quite enough, and the Dominican Republic men's national team, and that's where it changes today, because this is how we're starting the show. Because Junior Firpo leads left back, former Real Betis, former Barcelona played with your boy Messi, in the past. Junior Firpo has announced that he will be joining and representing the Dominican Republic in international play. Let's go.
Huge.
Huge. De Lo Mio has returned home.
Vamos, vamos, pero bueno.
Let's go. Que lo que FC is coming.
Yes. Okay. I'm a fan already. I'm already a fan. Que lo que FC, baby.
T-shirt, bro.
I'm already a fan.
Because the Dominican Republic, obviously, they're going to be playing in the Olympics this summer. They got a friendly schedule with Peru. They're playing. DR's playing Peru in Peru. And before Junior Firpo announced that he's gonna be playing, I'm like, all right, well, we're gonna get smacked up in Peru, but not anymore, okay? Because
he's gonna take you to the promised land.
The snowball effect is happening now, because it's gonna be him, and then maybe Mariano Diaz, maybe some other Dominicans, okay? So it's for the Olympics. Obviously it's a U23 tournament, but they allowed 3 players that are above the age of 23, and Junior Firpo is going to be one of them.
It's awesome. It's awesome for a country like República Dominicana that's had so much history in baseball. you're starting to see that turn just a little bit. For them to be in the Olympics is huge. Now to add a guy like Junior Firpo to that team too, it's exciting, man. Beautiful people, beautiful country. I couldn't be happier for them to celebrate this, and this is their moment, man. Go out there and have fun and enjoy.
That's it.
And have that fan base. Let them enjoy the hell
It's
out
representing, CONCACAF is representing Caribeños that are into soccer because they're, you're Cuban, I'm Dominican. They're not many of us, okay? We have to really fight for our place. We have to get past the fact that we disappointed our parents. We have to let it go.
Let's let that slide. We can move forward. Nah, man, yeah, look, it's good. I think everybody, too, will be rooting, all the Caribeños, right? They're all going to be rooting for them. I have a lot of family in Puerto Rico by way of Argentina and Cuba and everything. And, they've been rooting for the Puerto Rican national team. They were watching them as well recently. And I do have a feeling that everybody, all those Caribeños, they're all going to be rooting on República Dominicana because it's like you said, it's kind of like that mentality, right, where they want to stick everybody together. They want to all represent that region as far as soccer is concerned because it's not just a foregone conclusion that these teams are never going to be good. You're going to continue to develop players, and it happens in baby steps, but this is a good start.
Exactly. I mean, look, and then the Dominican Republic women played in the Gold Cup. They qualified. The group stage didn't go well. Got 0 goals. A lot of goals.
They got there.
They got there. So that is an experience and something obviously to learn from. But they had to play Mexico. They had to play US. They had to play and Colombia. Yeah. And it's just tough. That's a tough group. Yeah. But next time we'll get them. This is a big year for the Dominican Republic and soccer.
Yeah,
so
it's a day to celebrate for sure for them. Now you add a guy like Firpo. It's huge. It's huge. It's huge.
Let's go.
We celebrate.
All right. That's what I'm here for. All right, let's get started with some Premier League stuff. Miguelito, you're batting first. Go for
it. It's very apropos.
Let's continue this Dominicana baseball-based soccer conversation.
We got Stefano as a Liverpool fan. Obviously, the biggest match from all over Europe over the weekend was Liverpool-City. Had big implications on the Premier League title race. Arsenal, like we said, now in first place. Liverpool and City very shortly behind. What do you guys make of the game? It was a super exciting game, even though it was only a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, this felt like one of those games where like you see the result or like a very casual fan and be like, oh, it must have been a boring 1-1. Yeah, no. This was a game where Manchester City are thanking the stars that they got a point in this game because that should not have been the case, especially that second half. I'm not used to Manchester City looking like just some other pedestrian club out in the Premier League, but Liverpool. Not only did I after this game was over, and it hurts to say as an Everton fan, but after this game, it was like not only out of all the teams that are fighting for the Premier League title after this weekend, I'm like Liverpool looks like has the mindset to win it because. I don't think any other team is making Manchester City look like that.
No, not like, and it really wasn't a full Liverpool squad either. Now, look, Liverpool also has to be thanking their stars because if that Doku goal goes in late in the game that goes off the post too, we could be having a different conversation. But without a doubt, if you didn't watch this game and you're just listening to this right now and you're thinking boring 1-1 game, this was one of the most electric matches that we've seen in a long time.
Yeah,
probably one of the games of the year in the Premier League. I think Liverpool, you really have to tip your hat to them. What they're able to do with the players that aren't their star players playing out of position.
Babies.
Connor Bradley.
Crawling.
Kwanzaa.
Babies are crawling on the pitch.
Joe Gomez playing left back. I mean.
Babies are putting in tackles, bro.
After today, they're at school. Today, they showed up at school in the morning in their jerseys. You know what I mean? But no, look, it was an electric match. Liverpool dominated that second half. Up until maybe the very end where City did have a couple of moments. But playing at Anfield, and a lot of the Manchester City fans that I know, our friend Chris Whittingham said this yesterday. I'm going to quote him exactly. I hate this stadium, is what he said. Because every time when that stadium gets buzzing, and it's a match and a team like Manchester City, even they can look pedestrian. Even they can be kind of shifted back and kind of on the ropes. And that's where they were most of that second half. Liverpool a little bit unfortunate to not leave with the result. I'm still very proud of what the team did. As a fan, I'm happy with that performance. Obviously, they need a little more to get this title. It's always tough to win the Premier League, man. I mean, they got 2 losses all season. And they're still not in first place right now. Arsenal tied on points, but Arsenal's ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal the last couple weeks, they were like, you know what? the points race is gonna be pretty tight. Yeah. Let's get in 50 goals these next 2 weeks.
Yeah, they have to. Yeah.
Really. So you have to abuse the teams, and there is no like letting up of like, yo, we got the win. No.
Keep scoring. Yeah, you got to keep scoring.
Burnley, I'm sorry to do this to you, but it's gonna happen, right? This was a look. I mean, I know you mentioned like, if things could have been different. The Doku goal goes in or whatever. No. Liverpool had this game could have been 5-2 or whatever. I don't understand what happened to Luis Diaz in this game, where like he did everything right, but the last literally important thing that you need to do is just hit it into the net, and he just couldn't.
And that's not like him, right? I mean, he's been such a good player that plays with confidence. I mean, he was balling their midfield all out. It was up until the very last moment where his finishing was just a completely banished. And that's not like him. He's been so confident all season long. And when he gets in front of goal, he's going to bury it half the time. And it's just not been
hanging out with Darwin Nunez too much.
Way too much Darwin, bro.
I saw some, I don't know if it was like Bleacher Report or something, but they made some like graphic of just image of like a drawing of Darwin Nunez like at the penalty spot or something, and like about to take a shot, and it has like the little targets in the goal.
I saw this.
And it had giant targets that he could hit any of them within the goal, but there was just like a tiny one that looked like a nickel on the top right corner. He was like, all right, that's the one I'm going.
It's like
always
classic.
Go to like
he scores bangers, and then the tip-ins are like nowhere to be found. It's wild.
He drew. I mean, look, Darwin Nunez gets a lot of flack, and early in his Liverpool career, like he's missing some chances that he probably should bury. But for the most part, he's in great positions. He drew the penalty. What a great. This was a game where in most games you're not expecting Manchester City to make a mistake like that. Nathan Ake is passing it back to Ederson, and just like a weak back pass. And I don't know if it had anything to do with the rain or whatever, but uncharacteristic even from Nathan Ake to make that pass. And Darwin Nunez gets there and just, I don't know whose fault is it that Ederson ended up having to leave the game. I'm like, Ederson looked like he was trying to get himself hurt. Like, it seemed like an odd decision.
He was always going to be late.
He was always going to be late
to that challenge.
But to put his leg there,
it was weird.
It's just like risky. I'm just like, at that point, I almost thought he could have let him get the touch, and it might have even just gone out without. If
it's Darwin, probably.
And
I hate to say that, but he gets a lot of flack. Darwin does. I think that was a really heady play. He knew what he was doing in that moment. It was a clear foul, without a doubt, a penalty. And all the missed chances and all the stuff he does, that's not even really what bothers me the most about him, because he gets into good spots. He's gonna make some. He's gonna miss some. I understand that as a fan and as someone who's watched the game. My biggest thing with him is he's always he lives offside. He's gonna start paying rent offside. It's wild. How many? I mean, he scored the goal that would have given Liverpool a 1-1 lead. I think it was still 1-0 at that point. He scores the goal, living on offsides again. He gets caught offside. I think I don't know the stats, but we probably find it. He's got to be up there in the Premier League with the most offside calls.
It's one stat that I don't see being monitored that much, but there has to be some.
It has to be.
It has to be kept somewhere.
I'll look it up.
Let's see if we can.
Got our crack research staff here.
Stat man. So look, it ended 1-1, and obviously on the broadcast they're talking about like, oh, this might be the last time that Pep and Klopp.
Darwin Nunez has been caught offsides more than any other player in the Premier League.
Look at that.
25 times.
Whoa,
that's wild. How many games does it say there? How many games?
I mean, how many games did he play?
How many?
Whatever.
Whatever. It's almost one per game. It's almost one per game.
It's 1 or 2 per game. One per game.
He's played 26 matches, 25 offsides.
That's wild, man.
0.98 or whatever.
That's crazy.
So look, at least we know he's aggressive. He's not paying attention to his teammates, but he's aggressive.
Not paying attention to where the defenders are. I don't care about those. Just give me the damn ball.
Give me the ball, bro. I'm off the corner flag. I've been here. I don't know why you ain't giving me a ball. But the fact that these two managers are facing each other, and a lot of people are saying that Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp are like the two greatest, maybe the greatest rivalry of managers. And I wish I had the historian kind of mind. I don't exactly. I mean, in my mind, I obviously think of like Clásicos and who are the managers in when Mourinho faced Pep, or when who were the other when Ancelotti or whatever. Like I'm sure there are other ones, but when it comes to these two teams who dominate English football so much and so well, this game felt a little bit like not a stalemate because a lot was happening, but it did feel like, man, we're used to seeing both of these teams dominate. If they were playing anybody else, clearly dominate. And then when they play each other, they can both look bad. Yeah. And it's like that is, I think, such a great sign that tactically that both of these managers are doing something so well. Because, when Liverpool plays Brentford, Liverpool has better players, but how much better can they really be than the top 10 clubs in the Premier League? I'm sure at that point the differences are fairly small, and then it's like now you need a tactician to really make the difference. But that was one of the things that stood out to me. I'm like, how are both of these teams making mistakes? And it's like, oh, well, maybe this is the game of chess that we're not. As fans, we can't really see them. We don't see it actively happening.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, these are two of the best managers in the world. I think Pep. They each get flack for certain things that they've done or whatever, however it may be. With Klopp, it may be that he whines too much, or cries too much about the refs. Pep Guardiola has always had the best players in the world, and this and that. But you really see their talent when you match them up against each other, and I think that's where you're saying where. And I think as much as I wanted Liverpool to win that game, for this probably the last time they're going to be facing off in the Premier League against each other. They still could see each other in a cup competition, but it was right for this to be a draw between these two teams. There's so many incredible matches that we've seen.
Yeah.
Pep against Jurgen Klopp. I think that it almost had to be a draw in their last Premier League match against each other.
And for the storyline of the title.
It keeps the title.
And Arsenal fans are like, draw.
Yeah, of course. Arsenal fans everywhere rejoicing about a draw between Liverpool and Manchester City, as if they're not going to bottle it at the end like they always do. Sorry, Alexis, I'm sitting in your chair, but
you're probably right.
They almost did, right? Well, Aaron Ramsdale.
They wanted to.
Terrible.
What was that?
But why is it? I feel bad for Aaron Ramsdale. I'm like, bro, you lost your job, and you're only going to play when they play Brentford,
right?
Because of the David Raya on loan, and it's like, yo, all they're asking of you is
don't mess up that game.
Don't mess up. Don't mess up in that one game. And I think even in the first game that he had an issue as well. And this is where you see like goalkeepers it is such a psychological thing of like where your confidence is, where the trust that your manager has in you, because this man has no confidence. I mean he did make the Ivan Toney
great
unbelievable save. So but oh man, it's just like one of those things. If that went in, oh my God, I feel sorry for his mentions. I feel all of it would have been crazy.
Before we go anywhere else, well, really quick, I want just because, and I didn't want to bring it up and talk too much about it because I don't want to be here and start whining about refs.
Okay,
like my guy Jurgen Klopp. But was that a penalty at the end of the game in the Liverpool match?
I couldn't believe when they sent him over. They sent him over to the monitor, right?
Yeah. Wait, which one?
At the very end of the game, the cleat to
Doku on McAllister.
McAllister. Which, to me, it was a penalty. No me jodas. Come on, man. That's why I wore this shit today, because no me jodas. That was definitely a penalty. But, I mean, it is what it is. But
I didn't think it was a penalty. Or I could at least understand.
It was a little soft, but he put a cleat in his chest.
Yeah,
he karate kicked him.
He got the ball first, right? Or am I mistaken?
A little, like, he grazed the ball first. Fine.
Okay.
But still, it's a high boot to the chest. And he makes contact.
Because he got the ball, I was like, oh, I can see why they wouldn't call it or whatever. So I wouldn't. To me, it wasn't egregious. Okay. It was like I
spoke like a true Everton fan, like a true Evertonian over here. Of course.
No, but I mean, look, as far as we get controversies every single week with refereeing. That wasn't one that like was a flag to me that I'm like, okay, this is crazy that they made this call.
I think
Doku, I thought he was generally like being pretty cautious.
Yeah, I don't think it was. I don't think it was like he didn't mean to cleat him in the chest or anything like that. But I mean, it did make contact.
I just honestly think that if Klopp didn't complain as much, people would have been more outraged about it. But how many times is that guy going to go to the post-game press conference and be like, "Yeah, we should have had a penalty"? It's like, okay, enough.
Yeah, obviously this is not the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Inter Miami, who was the new guy that elbowed. I forgot the midfielder, the elbow,
I can't remember his name right now.
Schaffelberg.
I forgot the name.
I forgot his name, but we'll get his name later. But like that to me, I'm like, whoa. I mean, as for the storyline of like wanting to see Inter Miami like do well and get far in Champions Cup, and some people, Nashville fans may hate that I say that or whatever, but to me that was like. That felt a little bit like we don't want to mess this up. Let's just let them play or whatever. So okay. Arsenal did win their game. Kai Havertz scored a late goal, so they just almost ruined it.
Yeah. Every single Arsenal fan posted this weekend $60 million down the drain as their chant goes about Kai Havertz because the Chelsea fans are just
Bro, I'm a Chelsea fan.
I
will be honest. Like, respect to Kai Havertz, some guy is doing well at Arsenal. I will never miss him as a Chelsea player. He was just so infuriating.
How quickly they forget the Champions League final. And who scored that goal in the Champions League final?
I mean, no, he had that great moment. But apart from that, I will not miss Kai Havertz, no matter how much he succeeds at Arsenal.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, he's obviously starting. Gabriel Jesus, is he recovering from an injury, or is it just like this is tactically what they're going for? Because Havertz has a 9. To me, doesn't work.
He hasn't been good, Jesus, when he's played.
Yeah, but that's
he has been injured in and out, but he just has not been good. I mean, it's there's no other way to say it, and that's the reason that they're putting Kai Havertz at the 9.
Yeah. So the other thing I forgot to mention in the previous game was the Kevin De Bruyne getting subbed off, and Pep talking to him because he had to. Not only was Kevin De Bruyne visibly upset, which I've heard that Kevin De Bruyne is, I've seen Pep say this in interviews, that like Kevin De Bruyne is like a bit of an asshole, like, but he's like such a competitive person.
Right. That kind of an asshole.
Yeah. Where it's just like he doesn't necessarily look at Pep like put him on a pedestal. He's just like, nah, bro, why are you taking me off? Bro? I don't care how many, whatever you want. I don't care. Like,
he didn't care whatever Pep said in that moment. He was not gonna care.
And then Pep had to go. He went to the bench and was like kind of talking to him and kind of explaining his decision. I mean, even still, Kevin De Bruyne is like, no, I was there. And all these gestures and stuff like that. And
it was great TV. It was fantastic.
It's a fascinating thing because Doku comes in. I don't know if it was a sub for De Bruyne, but at that point it was an interesting choice because Pep was like, we need some fast dudes because we're getting killed, we're losing the ball in the midfield, and it's like, yo, Kevin, you good and everything, but I've already seen the comments you talking about you want to play in MLS, and it's like, nah.
You imagine what De Bruyne thought when Doku hits the post?
I know. Right?
I would have made that. I would have made that for sure. We would have won this game, Pep.
Bro, yeah. So okay, all right. Let's. Anything else in Premier League? No, I think we should wrap there. We got to talk some MLS.
So in addition to the big games over in England, had some big games in MLS this weekend. So a lot of surprising results. Christian was soggy and very sad on Saturday afternoon. It was gross day in New York City.
Don't talk about my body like that.
How was it though? Tell us how it was to watch Evander rip your heart out. Like
NYCFC hosted the Portland Timbers, the home opener for New York City Football Club, and now you know what? It obviously. People have seen we did the 2024 NYCFC jersey campaign with Adidas, so we're like doing all these photos and videos and stuff like that. And then one of the coolest things that I've experienced in my life is walking into the Yankee Stadium team store, the NYCFC store at Yankee Stadium, and boom, I walk in with my wife and an infant son, and whose dad is right up there on the
that's awesome, man.
on a big banner.
But why do they got to be so close to Alexis though, man? Like right up on Alexis's like ears, like right there in the front center.
If you're at NYCFC games and you go to the team store, you will see my giant face and Alexis's giant fade and his ear. You will see it at the team store. So that was really, really dope. So shout out to Adidas.
Hey, very, very cool, man. Very well deserved. That's awesome. That's a cool thing to see, to walk in to see, especially with your family. I'm glad you had that.
Yeah,
that experience.
It was emotional to say the least. So it was very cool. And then, NYCFC, Santi Rodriguez gets the goal. We're like, let's go. First goal of the season against these Timbers in the rain. I'm like, okay, we're going to do what we did to them in 2021. I know the second half, tale of two halves.
Did not go that way.
Because they, and the last, and Mike, you know this. I've been talking about the Timbers. The last, since the beginning of the season. I'm like, they have a proper roster, and look, and bringing. Everybody was like, why are we bringing Phil Neville and blah blah blah. He failed at Miami, and there's something, and I've been to Providence Park several times.
The place is great.
It is. I honestly believe, like, if you get to be a player for the Portland Timbers or you get to coach, you get the gift of a sold out stadium every single week and fans that demand excellence. Yep. And they brought in obviously Kamal Miller from Miami, and then they also brought in the Brazil Anthony, the Brazilian guy,
which that Anthony might be better than the Manchester United Anthony.
Week in and week
Just
out.
saying.
Yeah. It is he scored the goal. He scored the first goal in the second half and against NYCFC. And he had a brace 2 weeks prior.
2 weeks
or something
prior.
like that.
Yeah.
And I think they just signed a new striker as well from Club America.
They
right?
did, Cabecita Rodriguez.
Yeah.
So that's their DP9 that they've been missing. That's pretty much all they're missing on that squad. Neville, I feel like Neville's gotten, he was criticized a lot for what happened in Miami, but he was set up to fail, really, in Miami. They weren't signing players on purpose to allow the space for Messi and to build that whole roster. So he was doing what he was doing with a roster that was incomplete. He got the Inter Miami side with Higuain late in the season before that to be playing well. So I think he was kind of set up to fail in Miami. I think Portland's got themselves a motivated manager in Phil Neville now.
Yeah.
A manager that's going to have the backing of the fan base. At first, I know it was a little rocky, but now they're going to get behind him. This team is playing well early in the season. It's a long season, but I think Portland Timbers fans have to be excited because they're getting a brand new team with new players that are balling
Phil
right now.
Neville could be on the pitch, bro. Did you see?
He can still do it. Yeah, he can.
This was a huge moment in the game. So we're looking at, this is towards the end of the game. Matt Freese clears the ball. It goes out. Phil Neville gets up off the bench. He takes a touch and passes it to Eric Williams? I forgot he was a former NYCFC player. And touches it and he goes for a quick throw in.
Yeah, it was a quickness, right? Get it to him as fast as possible.
This is like a fourth or fifth assist. You know what I mean? Like so Phil Neville actually participating in this game a little bit had an effect.
You for sure were on the sideline like, man, come on, that's so good.
As soon as it happened, I'm like, yo, bro, still got it. Like, but not only was it like a great touch, but it was like perfectly in stride. He turned his hips.
Yeah.
He turned his hips to get it to his player in like, so he didn't like just trap it or let it fall to the ground. This was like a perfect
in stride.
Beautiful. And he's like, oh, perfect for the throw-in. So as soon as I saw this, I'm like, bro, I don't know if we're in trouble. This game. I think we might actually lose. I was like happy we're leaving with a point. It's raining. It's miserable. But at least a first point of the season. And this, I hope, is a big turning point for NYCFC, because the comments, the post-game comments from the coach Nick Cushing from Keaton Parks were the most angry and frustrated that I've ever seen a NYCFC player. I think for the most part, I don't know.
More angry than when James Sands was getting yelled at by the fans in the stadium last year. Do you remember that?
Yes. But no, I mean, angry fans, that's every week. That's not a shock. But the players themselves showing that anger and frustration, because even James Sands wasn't like swearing uncontrollably or anything like that. But the comments from Keaton Parks, which I'll pull up in a second, he essentially was saying that we can't be happy with just getting one goal. And I mean the exact quote is I think we have a lot of young guys that don't know how to play for results. We need to grow. We need to grind out effing results and not just bask in one goal leads and shit. So I'm not used to hearing Keaton Parks like that. He got a new contract. He is one of the more veteran players now on the team. The team is young. That's like a thing that I think a lot of fans are not. Not that they're not aware of it, but there is a time, but there's like some adjustment period or something. And look, Nick Cushing has had a fair amount of time to figure it out. And I've heard things about like what happened last season. They didn't necessarily put all the blame on the coach because their players were coming and going. Maxime Chanot left.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Gavi Pereira, injuries, players going to Saudi. Like last year was this weird year of like, they got an offer for a player, and they were like, well, we don't want to. We want to give the player the opportunity to live their dream and do. I'm like, what?
You're like, come on, man.
We're in the middle of a season. We're losing a lot. And like, I understand they want maybe more pay, going to Saudi or whatever. But it's like, the team lost a lot of chemistry, leadership. And obviously the Maxi Morales injury didn't help at all. But this and look, and credit to the Timbers because that second half they absolutely dominated, and that goal from Evander was
banger.
Unbelievable. I'm watching. I'm like, it's now MLS stadiums. Now they show the stoppage time. Before, it used to stop at 90, and then only the ref knew exactly how long the game was. This 96 minutes. I see it. And then he scores that goal on 96, like 45. And I'm like, why are we still playing this game?
Especially in the rain. Nasty. You're like, bro, does the ref want to go home already?
This should have been called like after 4 minutes. It'd be like, hey, look, I understand there's 2 minutes left, but we're trying to get home.
Yeah,
okay?
We're trying to get out of this slop right
Christian is soggy over there.
Man was soggy. What can you even say?
Evander, that goal is world class, man. I mean, that's a world class goal. If you're NYCFC late in the game against a player like that, you can't give him a yard. And they gave him just that little bit of space, and that's all he needed. It's tough from NYCFC, but it's also not every player can score a goal like that in that league. And he's showing that we knew he's got the talent, and now he's starting to do it.
I don't understand why Evander would do that in front of my firstborn son. How dare he?
How dare he?
How dare he
score a world-class goal?
Does he have no shame? I don't
Poor
know.
son going his first NYCFC game. Well, at least you're preparing your son early for what this sport can do to you.
Bro, it's going to be NYCFC games and Everton games. He's going to know no peace.
Ouch. Poor kid, man. That's a poor kid.
For Mateo.
No, there will be no joy in this home.
Ever.
Okay, a couple other notable results, and I gotta make sure we've been getting some comments of some MLS fans that are like, why don't you ever talk about so-and-so team or my team, or like, I want to hear about Charlotte. And I'm like,
got a lot of people asking for Charlotte FC content. I'm like, you're the only one, Mike.
There are 49 MLS teams, okay? We don't have the time. How much time this show's about an hour.
Yeah.
I wish I could talk about we talk about notable wild things that happen in the league. So apologies if we haven't mentioned your Charlotte.
We're about to talk about CF Montreal.
We're going to talk
Come
about
on. Look at him. He's even got the jersey and everything.
Because look, I whipped out the old Montreal Impact. All right.
Love that.
But so yes, Inter Miami, and I know people hate. Messi comes up in this show or whatever,
Haters.
but they did play Montreal, and we mentioned Montreal last week because we mentioned we'll do our woes and uh-ohs. Okay, we'll talk about them later. But I said I was like Joseph Martinez going there, and Montreal looks like a solid squad. They're looking great, but they played Inter Miami. When Inter Miami is in the middle of they're resting their players because they have a big international the CONCACAF Champions Cup game coming up.
They're going to have to do that with the team that they have and the age of the team that they have. They're going to have to rotate for some matches that this was a casualty for them. They almost still are able to get a point out of it late in that game, but they lose at home against Montreal.
Exactly. And so Messi didn't play in this game, but off the bench came in Luis Suarez and Busquets. And look, you see the lineup and you're like, okay, they're waiting for Nashville because obviously that game was a little contentious and they were down 2-0 and they ended up tying it, and a lot of controversy. I mentioned the non-red call from Redondo. That was
Redondo, yeah. Federico Redondo is the son. Fernando Redondo was the son who played for Argentina when I was a kid.
Okay. Oh, nice. But Montreal wins this game 3-2, and there were a couple moments that were kind of wild. Obviously, Drake Callender missing that long ball, and then what was his name? Kokaro?
Yeah, Kokaro.
and he literally empty net, and obviously there's a couple defenders there. He really just has to have a little bit of confidence and just
a little
take a shot.
That was pretty shocking.
And you're probably scoring a goal, but he dribbles around. Calendar gets back in goal. And he ended up stop. The shot ends up getting stopped, but that was a just like one of those. Nice little fun MLS moment
only see in MLS, baby. Quick, Drake Callender. You mentioned Drake Callender. Real quick, and I know this is off topic. Is Drake Callender moved up your list for U.S. national team goalies? I think he's got to be considered now with some of the other guys not really having some success.
Yeah, I think, honestly, he has moved up because he's like one of the few playing.
True.
So that helps. I do think Matt Turner overall is a still better goalkeeper.
But I think he's on the rise.
But I think so too. And look, I think when you're a goalkeeper and Messi's on your team, you're not really connecting much or whatever. But it does put this immense light on you and pressure that now I can't make as many mistakes as I could. Right.
And you're gonna get seen a lot more by a lot more clubs. A lot more people are gonna be just watching your matches too.
So I think that is the thing that can help elevate him to possibly a number one. If he continues to just have unbelievable games and makes we've seen it. We saw it in Leagues Cup. We've been seeing it already in CONCACAF Champions Cup. He's had to make some incredible saves because, the Inter Miami getting rid of Kamal Miller, which is really one of the better defenders in the league. I was concerned, especially during the preseason. I'm like, how are they gonna defend? I understand they're gonna go forward, but how the hell are they gonna defend? And they've kind of figured it out. I think Aviles has been pretty good.
Aviles to me was of all the signings they made, besides Messi, obviously. Mm-hmm. I thought Aviles was the best pure signing from an MLS perspective. Yeah. I just watched him in Argentina. He's a stud. He's tall. He's big. He's going to be really, really good in this.
And Redondo's also tall midfielder.
Yeah, which you don't really get a lot out of Argentina. I'm from Argentina. You don't get a lot of those big, tall guys coming out of there.
He's Pogba-esque, but I think his hero is Busquets. So it's very similar.
That's what he's trying to model his game after.
And so I mentioned the elbow though, but we because of our show airs on Mondays and Thursdays, we don't really get too much time to talk about Champions Cup because obviously there's so much over the weekend. But that was one of the better Champions Cup games I've seen so far. I put this question on Twitter of just there seems to be a real rivalry developing between Inter Miami and Nashville, where they have history. They've had contentious games. Nashville usually doesn't end up on top, but the games are competitive and close. And I can't I think the Shaq Moore goal doesn't get called back. It got called back for offside. And this is, I gotta find the picture, but this didn't look offside.
No, it was real tight.
It was so close that it was just no, just give it to Miami. It doesn't feel like we should do this to Miami if it's this close.
People aren't gonna like you just giving more to Miami, right? Look, it's what you play in a final against the club. You play, big games against the club. It's gonna happen. Miami's rival. Geographically, Orlando City just got beat 5-0. Sorry, bro. You gotta find a new rival, I guess.
Let me see if I can find the image because I think in CONCACAF they do the lines in Premier League, but I don't know if I can find it. It
was tight. It looked
unbelievably tight, and it looked like. It looked wrong. Yeah. There's no other way to put it. It looked like they had to draw the line for offside. They had to draw it because of the camera angle. They had to draw it under the Inter Miami player. And when you're drawing it under a player, you sort of have to guess where the shoulder is, and it was just they were you know what? It feels like he might be offside.
Not less straight line I've ever seen.
So look, there might be some controversy there. We'll see if it feels like this the second time around now with arrested Messi. Not arrested. He committed no.
He's not arrested. He's good, guys.
New TV show with Jason Bateman. Arrested Messi.
He's not involved in any shady Miami, South Florida stuff.
I'm sure lots of people are making him proposals and offers.
Oh yeah, he's getting offers, I'm sure.
But he is going to be rested for the next game, and because even the when he was rubbing his hamstring in the first minute, I'm like, what's all this? Is he playing possum?
Yeah.
Or is he actually hurt? But no, he obviously ended up having a great game.
Yep.
The other, Lorenzo Insigne, scoring for Toronto. I forgot who they played. Why am I forgetting?
Charlotte.
Was it Charlotte?
Yeah.
It was Charlotte, yeah.
Oh, we're talking about Charlotte.
Charlotte. You sure want us to talk about Charlotte fans, Charlotte FC fans? Because it didn't go that well for you.
1-0, and already this season he has 2 unbelievable bangers.
Yep.
But this was we were talking about it before we started recording. The celebration with John Herdman.
Yeah, man.
I think that was almost more notable than the goal. Lorenzo Insigne, we saw him last season arguing with fans in the stands and people just like, I've been to Toronto several times. The Inebriati is their supporters group.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. It's one of my favorite names.
They're no joke, man. Yeah. It's like, it's a lot of Italian people that expect a lot, especially from their Italian DP. And I'm happy to see him doing well. NYCFC plays him next, so I hope he doesn't do that well. But this is it's a nice sight to see Toronto and the fans happy with how the team's playing.
100%. I mean, last season was an unmitigated disaster in Toronto. I mean, it's fair to call it that. Probably still being nice, only calling it that. But you needed to bring in a manager. Whoever was next this season, it was so important that they developed a relationship with John Herdman, with the manager, with Lorenzo Insigne. Sorry about that. But it's clear, and his post-game comments after, just by that celebration, which, by the way, the goal was an absolute another world-class finish. MLS bangers only, as we know. Another world-class finish from Insigne. It's something that we've seen him do with the Italian national team a ton. He runs right over to Herdman. It's an embrace, a genuine embrace. Herdman even grabbed his face. You almost looked like he was about to give him a big fat kiss. Like, I love you. You know what I mean? And then after the match, talked about how he has a very open relationship with Insigne. He listens to Insigne quite a bit when it comes to tactics. Okay. He even said as much as, look, he's been around and forgotten more football than I've coached. He said those words.
Wow.
So the fact that relationship is like this, he even went on to say that he texts Insigne more than his wife. So that's pretty interesting. But you'd love to see it if you're a Toronto fan. To get the best out of this guy, you need to be on his side. You need to listen to him, because if not, he's going to be just like last year, where he was disconnected. There was a ton of issues at training that were reported about. So I think that it's really turned the right direction for Toronto. You're seeing that. Look, these new coaches in these new spots, Neville in Portland. And you're seeing it now with Herdman in Toronto. They're having results because they're changing the culture of things around.
Yeah. We had CJ Sapong on the show, and then that came up about the vaping.
I saw it. That was fantastic. That was fantastic.
And that was maybe Herdman is like, everybody vapes.
You can all vape. No, it's all right. Just play hard.
We're not going to have any,
Herdman's like, you mind if I hit that real quick?
No limits.
Let me try that flavor, please.
No limits on vaping.
You got mint jewel? You got a mint jewel?
So it's great to see. Look, because John Herdman, even after he left the Canada managing position, and everybody's like, okay, well, why would he leave that for just going to a club? But then it's like, then you hear the stuff going on with Canada. I'm like, oh, Herdman knew something. He was like, I gotta get the hell out of here.
Get out of here. Yeah. You think like, oh, you're leaving that and you're going to Toronto with the mess that they were last year.
Right.
Like you really gotta want to out, right?
So,
but he knew what it was doing.
It's great to see. I'm more than they're scoring some goals this season and they haven't lost, but they're defending well, and that was the issue last season. Yeah. And I don't know if it's just Michael Bradley retiring, or maybe having somebody with a little bit more pace in the midfield to defend. So it's great to see. The
let's get to the woes and the uh-ohs.
Okay, yes, right. All right. So So woes and uh-ohs. Obviously, I'll start probably with and it hurts to say, but I'm gonna have to just go with Evander, because he gets a proper woe from me, because that goal literally left me speechless, and I couldn't. It was you know what, I'm gonna give a double woe, because I have to give also credit to the Greek god himself, Yorgos Yakumakis. I don't know if I was going to steal yours. Apologies.
You did, but it's all right.
I'm so sorry.
You're all good. You're all good.
That was another one. I'm just like, bro.
I'm more excited for my uh-oh.
Okay. So, but Yorgos, he gets a hat trick, but also a perfect hat trick, which I haven't seen many people mention that enough. Like, we don't get that many perfect hat tricks in Major League Soccer. Left foot, right foot, and a header. Yep. So that was quite impressive. But then the other thing with him is he is so unimpressed by his own success. He's just strangely like, that's what I do. And people ask him about the like, are you trying to get the golden boot? And he's like, the golden boot's trying to find me. And they're like, what? I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he was doing. So no, he's both of those guys are on my wall. Apologies, maybe.
All good. Yeah, it was Yakumakis for sure, but it's more Atlanta United. Atlanta United. I think a lot of people didn't really expect them to really, start well. It was still a team that was kind of trying to find its way a little bit. They made the playoffs last year, but they didn't look good in the playoffs. They made some key signings last summer, I think, that are really starting to play now, early this season. But yeah, the combination between Thiago Almada and Yorgos Yakumakis is lethal. Yakumakis is going to score. If Thiago Almada stays the whole season, Yakumakis might score 35 goals this season. It's wild because that combination is just going to be able to set him up constantly. He set him up for one of those goals this weekend. And Yakumakis, man, like they're negotiating a new contract with him right now. So his stock is rising. I think he is going to be I think he's going to be a top 3 goal scorer this season for sure in MLS. Without a doubt.
Look, you probably when you think of Golden Boot, you're like Messi will probably get it, but I don't know if he can keep up with.
Because that's the thing, Messi might not play as many games. Now, Yakumakis last year, his big thing was injuries, right? He was injured a lot early in the season. And he really starting to come on late in the season. But even whenever he played, he would score. Even early in the season, but he just didn't play a whole lot because he was injured.
And then Atlanta United, the admin team, bro, cooking the New England Revolution. Yeah. They hit him with the throwing the T, and they put an L over the T box. Or whatever. This is... I tweeted,
Revs fans.
I'm like, this was gonna happen. There's no way you're gonna do this. This new tradition, and nobody kind of like tease it or make fun of it.
This is gonna be the most memed video in the entire country by the end of this season.
I'm very much hoping the Revs never lose another game. That's the only real way to avoid this.
Just can't wait for the NYC to come up with something similar when they beat the Revs. That's what you're looking for.
So this is fun. Shout out to the Revs fans, the Midnight Riders. Look, everybody's trying to come up with their own soccer culture.
Of course.
This is we don't have to love it. When Timber Joey was doing the thing, there's plenty of people but plenty of people are like, this is so corny, this is so cringe.
Sorry, ain't nothing funnier than this. This takes the cake. Sorry, Revs fans. I called a lot of your games last year for Apple TV. It was great to be there, but this ain't it. This ain't it. You're dropping a box.
This is one of the
This is an uh-oh, yeah. I guess this is an added uh-oh. This is an uh-oh for me for the whole season. All right? So you just know every time you guys do this segment, just add an uh-oh for me for this. My other uh-oh is Orlando City. Orlando City is not looking good early in the season. Now, we know that this happens with teams, early MLS teams that are competing in the, I was about to say CCL, but it's not CCL anymore, the Champions Cup. They don't do well early in the season because of the kind of the fixtures and how complicated it is early in the season, right when you're starting up to participate in both of these tournaments is tough. But they lose 5-0 to Inter Miami. Then they come back out at home against a Minnesota United side that their coach just got there. They haven't even really gotten that team fully together yet.
He doesn't know everybody's name yet.
He just 100% doesn't know everybody's name yet. He's like, what's this guy's name again? You're going in, man. Yeah, that's what it is. And Orlando City, again, they drop one at home, and they just don't look like late in games. Like they have the energy and the the wherewithal to kind of see games out.
Right.
And that's what happened with Bongi scoring in the 90 whatever minute it was to give them another loss.
I mean, and not only do they give up that late goal, but then they score one of the fastest goals in MLS history in the same game. So I mean, props to Minnesota. Yeah, that was not only to tie the game up, but to win it late. Big result. I mean, the only other I'm still again worried about the Chicago Fire. They're seeming like the same Chicago Fire. They also lost late at Columbus again, and it's just I'm just like you see the beginning of the season and the hype, and you see how like Shaqiri, but like they're gonna be different this time around. You saw they had a video of like in the huddle like before a game, and you know, Shaqiri's like, stay on them. We're gonna, you know, this is who we are now, and blah blah blah. And it's like, then look at the results, and it's like, no, things ain't changing as fast as they really want.
And it's not even just the results too. It's, you talk about Shaqiri, you see him in that game, and it's not the effort that you expect from a guy who's rallying the troops, saying he's gonna do more. You know, those late runs, those, you know, getting back, tracking back, it just doesn't really happen too much. And you know, I hate to call a guy out like that, but I mean, when you start to seeing this repeatedly on the pitch, where the same type of results are happening because of the same type of play on the pitch, where the same guys aren't running back and aren't putting in the same work rate, it's tough to not continue to call a team like Chicago out. And they're doing the right things. They're spending. They actually go out and spend. A lot of people think, oh, they don't spend money. They do spend. They don't spend it correctly a lot of times, but they do go out and spend money on this team and on this roster. But you're not getting the results.
They got the goal from Fabian Herbert. It was a good. I think who got the assist on that goal? I don't remember who it was. But they look better.
They do. I mean, Kuipers is going to be, I think, a pretty good player if he gets some opportunities, some service from Shaqiri and from Acosta, from Gutierrez.
And Gutierrez is like one of my favorite like young players in this league. Really.
20 years old. He's been in the league. It feels like forever already. I know, which is insane. But yeah, he's a baller.
Did you see? There was also MLS posted a video of the Toronto FC players meeting the Toronto Raptors.
Oh yeah.
And like I saw it on TikTok. But it was one of the younger players basically saying like I forgot the player he's meeting, but the basketball player says like apologies for that. I think we're gonna get a ban on YouTube. So one of the basketball players is like, oh, how old are you? He's like, I'm 20. He's like, oh, how long you been playing? He's like, about 5 years. And he's like, what? He's like, what? He's like, when you got signed? He's like, I got like around when I was like 15. And he's like, what, you been playing? And then he's like, yo, this guy's been playing since he was like 15. And he's like, yo, we can never have that in the NBA.
No, God, no.
That was fascinating. So a lot of young, promising talent.
So continuing with American soccer, U.S. Women's National Team won the Gold Cup last night. It was Sunday night, I guess, whenever you're listening to this. They beat Brazil 1-0. It wasn't the most exciting game, to be honest, but what'd you guys make, of another trophy for the U.S. Women's National Team?
Honestly, the only thing on my mind as I'm watching them like lift the trophy, I'm like, how's Carly Lloyd gonna ruin this? What is she gonna say? And luckily, I didn't see any tweet or anything negative, but I was just like, what is she gonna say to ruin? I'm like, they're celebrating too much, or it's not really that big of a deal, or it's not, or whatever. This is after the Women's World Cup that they had. This is obviously just such a good sign. And then losing to Mexico got a lot of people pretty nervous. About just kind of the questions about where the mindset of the team is, and then also Lindsey Horan's comments in The Athletic did not help with, some people are still kind of roasting her about it. But this says a lot because I think especially the game against Colombia, where like Trinity was getting everybody's faces with Alex Morgan, arguing with Usman, like just the chippiness, the passion and of like. I think it not only does it help the squad and help the future of this team, but it helps the younger players. I think to be like, I think this is a reality of just like not to say and not diminishing the fight for like equal pay, But what tends to happen is like everybody's getting paid more.
Yeah.
When younger players arrive, and they're like 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, and then also making, I'm like, oh shit, I'm making like real money.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be a little bit of like affecting the not necessarily the effort, but just the mindset of like, yeah, I might end up slapping up a Colombian player, like where like you can like lose it all because you like desperately want to win that badly. And I think there is we've heard this from former players and like of like passing down the culture. Like I read Brianna Scurry's book. And talking about like the stuff she learned from former players, or like talking about playing with players like Michelle Akers who risk their body and like dealing with all these injuries and all this other stuff. Like there's just a grit that I think is affected in just like that. Not even affected, but I think that maybe that grit isn't necessarily passed down to the younger players because they kind of want it to be a little bit easier than they had it, which is like totally 100% valid. But I think something might be lost. That's like my theory. But that's why I think the Women's World Cup last year didn't go as well as they would have hoped.
That's fair. I also think it's a combination of just it's a brand new era, right? For the U.S. Women's National Team, and you got a lot of players that are. It's a transition period, right? And you're going to have some players kind of figuring things out. And I do think that was missing for sure at the Women's World Cup, that kind of like fiery, like battle for every inch type of mentality. I do think that was missing for sure. I think we saw it a little more towards the end of this tournament. I think you're starting to see the Sophia Smiths. I love Crystal Dunn. She is the best, man. When she gets running up and down that flank, and she just runs with authority down that flank, it's great to see, and you really see that battle. I think you're starting to see that more with this team. And look, man, it's a trophy. And after losing in the World Cup the way that they did, and how things went, and for Lindsey Horan, after all the comments that she made, for her to go out and get the game winner, I think was big, just for the whole situation, right? And I think that we got to celebrate. It's the Gold Cup. You beat a good Brazil team that's always tough to beat, and you're able to get a result. Wasn't the best performance, I thought, from either team in this final.
I thought Brazil was uncharacteristically like just making more mistakes than they normally do. They were giving the ball away, creating really, really dangerous chances for the U.S. The game easily could have been a higher score for the U.S. But yeah, this was I think it's a statement, right? And I enjoyed the Gold Cup overall. I mean, outside of DR not doing scoring any goals and getting demolished, wasn't great. But I think, especially for the U.S., given the loss to Mexico and then the bounce back against Colombia, I think this is the questions now about the Olympics and what players are gonna play there. Like, look, a lot of people, even with the lineup, Jaden Shaw not starting in the game, I thought was like, all right, that's a little bit weird, risky. And because Alex Morgan, let's be honest, she has not really like.
It's not the same Alex Morgan. Not the same. It's just fair. I mean, come on, she's been there forever.
And look, she drew the penalty against Colombia. That was like one of the few highlights kind of in the tournament. And and she obviously only went to the Gold Cup because Mia Fischel had the ACL injury. And but it was a risky lineup. Look, as I'm watching the game, I was just like, there's a certain, I love this team and I love the players and I see what they do in NWSL and I just like, I want Trinity to like nutmeg just some more player. Like I just like want this like I want them to dominate so badly. And then but there's just like Trinity Rodman they were in their own half and defending, and I think everybody was like trying to just clear the ball and get and regain possession. Because Brazil was attacking a lot, and Trinity Rodman went for a nutmeg like at the top, like at the corner like of the 18, and it was like, what? Okay, what are you doing?
Not there.
Not in the 89th minute when you're trying to just hold on to a 1-0 victory.
Do it earlier in the game. Not there, please. Not there.
She wasn't late in that game. She got subbed off. But so there's, I have to like contend with both of those things. I'm just like, I want them to be flashy and dominate, but then I also want them to be pragmatic and confident and stuff like that. But look, I got to give credit because this midfield in Colbert, who I believe plays, I think she plays at PSG. So it was Sam Coffey, Colbert, and Lindsey Horan. And it was one of those things where, like, these are not the names I'm used to seeing.
But that's going to happen a lot, I feel like, now with this team.
Corbin Albert. By the way.
And
she does play for PSG.
And I was just like, yo, she can ball. She's really good. And we saw it. There was one string of play where, like, it was either Sam Coffey or Corbin Albert and Emily Fox, and they were just, like, dribbling around and you know, like it looked like FIFA. Like
you're seeing the skill.
Yeah,
for sure. I think that Mexico loss against Mexico was a galvanizing moment for them.
Yeah,
I think, you know, we talk about them. We want them to dominate all the time, and we want them to kind of just be able to run through. This is what's going on in women's soccer now.
Yeah,
it ain't gonna be that easy anymore for them. It's not gonna be a walk in the park anymore, and that's a good thing.
Yeah,
it's a good thing for the sport. But you want to see the U.S. kind of, all right, now raise your level. You got to raise it up even more now to continue to have the success that you've always had. And I do feel like this young generation of players is the correct generation to do it. I think they have the ability, the skill, the mindset. They've played together now in the youth ranks for quite some time.
Yeah.
Some of them are teammates now. So you're playing at the highest level. I do think that this is the team that can do it. But it's not just going to be like it used to be where they could just get together and ball anybody out. It's not going to be like that anymore. They're going to have to put the work in, really train, get the tactics right, and be able to play against all these different nations now that they're just flat out better. A lot better than they have been in the past.
And I like that the Gold Cup had the CONMEBOL teams as well. It felt like a little World Cup because usually, obviously, it's U.S., Canada, for the most part, that dominate in CONCACAF.
And look what Mexico did.
I think that's as far as like what we leave this tournament with of like, I don't know, who's sort of the most like promising, has a promising future. The Mexican team looks remarkable.
Kind of going away from the actual games that happened over the weekend, we had a crazy moment in Serie A where Lecce manager Roberto D'Averso has been sacked after headbutting a Hellas Verona player after the match. What is going on, bro?
Well, I mean, just par for
that
the course. Par for the course in Serie A. Not that shocking to me anymore. This is, we can take a quick look at what happened. This was, this is after the game. And manager, you see him come up to the guy, and boom! Just he headbutt right like in like the nose or chin.
Yeah,
this is a straight up like
brutal.
I mean, just completely lost his head.
They don't allow this in UFC, right? You can't headbutt in UFC anymore. I don't think you can.
My leche manager, man, he needs some leche condensada right about now.
Okay,
it's
little Maurice soñando. My man needs to chill.
It's wild that we say that it's par for the course in Serie A. We've seen some crazy things happen in this league, man, with some of these managers just losing their minds, losing their minds completely on the side. I mean, this is a league that just had Jose Mourinho for quite some time too. So I mean, the ringleader, you know, setting the example is the ringleader Mourinho. But I mean, what are you doing, man? You can't go after a player.
Well, this is and we saw the thing, the manager in Bundesliga that got suspended. I think a few games for what was he? He
shoved the guy when he tried to pick up the ball.
Right. It was at Bayern. Why am I forgetting his name? Leroy Sané.
Yeah.
He was like, you know, getting a little scuffle in the technical area where it's just, I don't know, you know, the coaches themselves have to be the voices of reason. They have to show some composure. This is what they ask of their players. They're like, yo, don't get a red by doing something crazy. You know, Mario Balotelli got yelled at by every manager that he played under. And then when you see coaches like that, I really like, it makes no sense. I mean, this is your captain, your leader of the club. Yeah. And this is how they're behaving. It's obviously inexplicable, but the fact that he just thought like, oh, I'm just gonna go headbutt this dude real quick to prove a point for what? And then so the striker was Thomas Henry of Hellas Verona, and no matter how many times you watch it, you're just like you're trying to justify it in some way, and Did he say something?
Nah, I think he beelined for him, man. He made eye contact. He's like, I'm coming for you. I'm just coming right for that. He knew what he was doing right there in that moment.
Just remarkable.
Without a doubt.
So shout out to Serie A. just being authentic, bro.
What do you think's crazier, this headbutt or the Greek owner that came onto the field with the gun?
I saw that. It's gotta be the gun. It's gotta be the gun.
The gun. If he pistol whipped him, then.
What is it? I mean, that's the thing, right? You get managers coming on the pitch. That's one thing. They kind of belong there. The owners should never be on the pitch.
Right.
Ever. And this guy my man didn't just come on the pitch. He came on the pitch strapped, ready to go. Like, what are you thinking, man? Like, as a player, you're like, yo, what the hell is going on here, man?
Does the owner have a Glock? Like, that's kind of crazy. No, I mean, it's I don't know. I mean, there's no real explanation for it. I mean, you expect better from these guys. But look, he's obviously losing his job, which is completely just.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the sort of the future holds for these. This is what I think. When it comes to just a game of soccer, football, I think a lot of people think it's a little bit more buttoned up than it actually is.
Okay.
I mean, look, we know we've heard the stories about, like, if you watch the Maradona documentary and like how the mafia guys were like taking him out and took care of him and all this other stuff. Like, there's a lot of influence from people that aren't the best people. that not only do they use these clubs to help not necessarily enrich themselves, but just to increase their own social capital, right? Because these billionaires, they don't need these clubs to make money. But that's kind of the thing. It's like sometimes an owner can just like hire a security guard to be a manager of a football club. You know what I mean? And it's like this guy who was like an enforcer or some like thug, and stuff like this can happen. So this is just it's just a sign that something's wrong from even an executive level. If a manager is doing something like this.
We know FIFA, the most the most non-corrupt organization in the world, guys. I mean,
well, that's why I think.
What do you expect?
That's why I think Premier League is like going after like all these points deductions and profit and sustainability, because I think they know we could quickly get into this place where it can get quite chaotic.
Yeah, I mean, it still happens in South America everywhere, right? Where the fan groups, the supporters aren't just random guys. There's some guys that are involved in some stuff that you don't want to have around your club. But for a lot of these, especially in South American countries, and I speak from experience just from Boca Juniors, and I know a lot of stories behind that. I'm a Boca Juniors fan. I mean, there is a lot of shadiness that have gone on before, and you almost, as owners, sometimes you have to tiptoe around that because they've got a stranglehold on this supporter section and on this club that you can't really get away from. So it's already gone down that path in some parts of the world. We don't want it to get like that in other parts of the
world. Okay, that's why we all should have a single entity and just MLS does it right. Never had a money.
Sure, yeah. Whatever you say, man, Christian.
Look, that's Don Garber clapping for me.
Thanks, Don. Thank you so much.
Okay, now let's all support the US Open Cup. Let's go. All right, everybody, let's wrap up. Stefano, thank you so much for joining me. As always, I appreciate it. Is there anything you want to let people, where should people follow you? Where can they catch your work?
CBS Sports Golazo. I'm on there hosting different shows, box to box, scoreline. Sometimes I'm on Morning Footy with your guy Alexis in the morning.
Yeah, dude.
But been over there, and I'm on Twitter. There you go. That's Stefano Fusaro.
We follow you on Twitter. We don't follow you on Instagram.
I'm not as active as I should
Christian,
be. But
this is like the third time you've done this. Yeah.
I go to people's Instagram pages and I'm like, yo, everybody, you need to go follow Stefano Fusaro. He is the best on Instagram, which we support. Okay. Why is that button blue right there?
Yeah, maybe we should just stop looking at people's Instagrams in front of their
Just don't do it in front of us.
It's funny because I don't remember where I follow. I'm like, I see their content. I don't know what platform I follow people on. And then it's just
too many platforms. You're like, I forgot what I saw.
It's all good,
man. Thank you for having me, man. It's always fun to come in here.
You're welcome anytime, bro. Thank you so much. We always call you the the replacement Cuban. I called in.
We had to, yeah. Bring in the Cubano. Bring in the other Cubano.
So always a pleasure. Everybody, make sure you follow us at Soccer Cooligans on our social channels. Shout out to everybody watching everywhere on DraftKings.
Got a very cool episode this Thursday. Going to do a little NWSL preview with Jenna Tonelli.
That's right.
NWSL reporter. Should be very
Yes,
good.
and we're going to chat with her before the NWSL Challenge Cup that's happening this Friday at Red Bull Arena. So that's going to be Gotham FC against San Diego Wave. So as always, follow us at Soccer Cooligans. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And as always, support the Dominican Republic in the Olympics because Junior Firpo has made the right decision. Finally, he let go of España. We don't need España. They're good. They're fine.
Que lo que FC, baby!
Take care, everybody.
It's the Cooligans, buddy.